I can't believe Pikmin 4 has almost been out for a month now. I've been playing this game non-stop and I've put more hours into the game than Tears of the Kingdom at this point. But whereas it makes sense to spend over 100 hours in Tears of the Kingdom due to how much there is to do, Pikmin 4, despite being the longest Pikmin game, isn't quite Tears of the Kingdom level in terms of the content it provides. Unless you know how to make the most out of it, which is something that Pikmin fans are very accustomed to due to only having 3 games to play in the last 22 years. That isn't a platformer on the 3DS, maybe giving us like 50 hours of content total if you play through all the games normally. So something a lot of Pikmin fans, including myself, like to do to enhance the replayability of these games is to do challenge runs, replaying the game trying to beat it in the lowest amount of days possible, or with no Pikmin deaths. But besides maybe doing a no spray, no purple run in Pikmin 2, these were essentially the only 2 challenge runs that you could really do in the first 3 Pikmin games. Luckily, Pikmin 4 completely blows the other games out of the water in terms of the different type of runs you can do, as they've added a significant upgrade system for Ochi, which is a core part of the game, upgrades and items for your own character, as well as limiting the Pikmin field amount to 20, requiring you to get onions and farlic in order to propagate your Pikmin species further. And since having all of the stuff at your disposal makes the game pretty easy even towards the end, I figured it would be fun to do a run where I buy no gear upgrades, no upgrades for Ochi, and don't get any of the onions or farlic, keeping my Pikmin cap at 20. Doing some of the later game bosses with these limitations really made me feel like one of those first time Pikmin players who have no idea what's going on, and it was super fun to engage with some of the bosses for more than 2 seconds with a fully upgraded Ochi and ultra spicy spray. But I did miss my boy Ochi, and how absolutely overpowered he can be. It's unfair, it's easy, but it's also fun as heck. So I figured for my next challenge run, I would go in the complete opposite direction and try to beat the game with the least amount of Pikmin possible by utilizing absolutely every system the game gives to you to help new players overcome obstacles, even if they aren't good at using the Pikmin. That means in addition to getting all the cool gear from Russ, we are going to heavily be utilizing the items he has available to you, as well as, of course, using Ochi for everything, without any of the Pikmin's help. Now, the biggest issue that would immediately come to mind playing this way is your ability to get raw materials, due to the fact that Ochi can only carry 1 at a time and no upgrades you give to him is going to change that, making it painfully slow if you want to build anything, and that on top of the over-reliance on raw material, for getting stuff like the anti-electrifier for Ochi so he can break down that electric wall in Sunspeckle Terrace, makes this run borderline unplayable if you were playing in single-player mode. In the previous 2 Pikmin games, co-op worked by letting a second player take control of one of the multiple playable captains that you normally have in single player. But in Pikmin 4, they decided to go the Super Mario Galaxy route and have the second player be a reticle that throws pebbles, and once you throw enough pebbles at stuff, can also help out by throwing items that you normally get in the game, with their own independent inventory. The mode is really OP, but honestly not engaging at all. It could be really fun if you have a 5-year-old child, sibling, or cousin to play with, but beyond that, this mode is a terrible multiplayer experience. But it's a great single player experience, as the pebble pitcher can do almost anything a group of 100 Pikmin can, with none of the danger of getting killed, and this includes dealing with environmental hazards, just like that electric gate that you could normally only break without yellow Pikmin if you got the anti-electrifier for Ochi, which for this run saves us 100 raw material and a ton of time. But what if I told you there was yet another OP thing that you can utilize to get through this game without Pikmin? And it's so strong that it's the equivalent of a secret third captain. Okay, hear me out. So the survey drone is normally nothing to really write home about. It's essentially a replacement for the real-time map overview feature that you could use with the Wii U gamepad in the original Pikmin 3. But the co-op was slapped into the game so last minute that Nintendo didn't account for the fact that you can throw pebbles at any time from anywhere as long as the gameplay isn't paused. And since you can unpause the gameplay while using the survey drone, that means that you can throw pebbles at anything from any point on the map. As soon as you land in an area, you could clear the entire area of all walls and enemies before you even move as Ochi or the customizable character. You can even kill enemies that normally need Pikmin to come out of hiding by throwing Pikmin carrots, as enemies are programmed to interact with them as if they are an actual Pikmin. That, in combination with this top-down view, really turns this run into a kind of weird sequel to the Piklopedia in Pikmin 2, where you could look at enemies from a bird's eye view perspective and throw Pikmin carrots at them to see how they interact with Pikmin, except this time you're actually doing it in order to kill them and progress the game. And that's not even mentioning the fact that you can do stuff like throw bombs at them, as well as any other items you normally get from Russ's shop through the two-player mode, as long as you throw enough pebbles to generate those items, which in this run you definitely will. The only downside is that you can't exit out of the file, or else it will completely reset all of the items you've accumulated in the co-op mode. How the survey drone can be used as a third captain is that while Ochi is carrying something back to base, and while your captain is doing whatever else, maybe walking to a certain location, you can bust out the survey drone and kill some enemies and do some other stuff, essentially having three entities working in tandem, that being the survey drone and the pebble pitcher, the captain, and then Ochi. You can even use the captain's inventory of items along with the pebble pitcher's separate independent inventory of items to bombard enemies from multiple angles, and using these methods you can actually beat every enemy in the game except for the final boss with no Pikmin. Even the armored cannon beetle, which I initially thought you needed one Pikmin to kill, can also be killed by just throwing 3 ice blasts and a bunch of bombs at him. The amount of things you can get away with in this game because of the survey drone in co-op mode is actually staggering. You can even throw a carrot on a button to activate it from any point on the map, allowing you to bypass some very time-consuming puzzles. So as you can tell, I was experimenting with a lot of different things during this run, pushing the game to its limits, and one of the most fascinating things I discovered is how candy pop buds affect the total amount of Pikmin grown in your in-game stats. I found out that by throwing Pikmin into a candy pop bud and then leaving the sublevel, you can actually remove them from your total Pikmin count without adding to your Pikmin lost count. A red Pikmin seed does spawn from the onion once you leave the cave in order to prevent Pikmin extinction, but as long as you don't pluck that Pikmin, it doesn't count as being grown by you, meaning that it's technically possible to beat this game while having 0 Pikmin gained and 0 Pikmin lost on the endgame stats, once you get access to a candy pop bud. Luckily, you can get access to a candy pop bud as early as day 2 by visiting the Crackling Cauldron with under 4 red Pikmin, meaning that with 2 quick visits to the sublevel, you can beat the game without using Pikmin, with the only 2 exceptions being the 7 Pikmin required on day 1 to get the Game Boy Advance, and using 1 Pikmin in Hero's Hideaway to get one of the playing cards with the password to the bunker and to open the bunker itself. For some reason, you can throw Pikmin carrots on vertical buttons, but not horizontal ones, unless it's the button right outside the Frozen Inferno, which is impossible to press unless you beat that cave. But this is also the game where you can freeze an entire ocean with 1 ice blast, while hay bales are indestructible to anything but a flaming pine cone. Something Glow Pikmin refuse to pick up because they're allergic to pine cones. And then what the heck is this? That's not even how physics work. Like, what is happening in this game? Anyways, getting back to the amount of Pikmin you need to beat this game. Normally you would need 1 extra ice Pikmin to rescue Russ in Lost Frost Cavern, or 3 yellow Pikmin to instead rescue him from Crackling Cauldron, as you do need Russ to prompt Ochi to grow up, allowing you to jump and continue the game. But thanks to this Pikmin live streamer, Wigwam Man, I found out that you can actually throw red Pikmin up to Russ in Crackling Cauldron if you throw it at a specific angle, meaning that in addition to beating the game with 0 Pikmin added and lost, we can also beat the game with only red Pikmin discovered. But you will have to eventually discover all of the types if you want to go for 100%, as getting the onion for each Pikmin type counts as them being discovered, and you need purple and winged Pikmin to collect certain treasures. Speaking of that, the treasures you can and can't collect without Pikmin in this game is really weird. One of the most useful ways to get treasures without needing any Pikmin is to have Ochi bash into a wall and knock the treasure down, but the walls that can be bashed into and can't are really inconsistent. For example, there's no way to get this music box or this rubber ducky without Pikmin, but you can knock around things that normally you probably shouldn't be able to, like this die in sublevel 1 of Plunder Palace, this action figure piece in sublevel 2, and on the final sublevel, whoa Ochi, what are you doing? Put that guy down. Whoa, be careful, come on, put it down. Bad dog, God! This type of sorcery is unacceptable! But as fun as using all of these tools to figure out ways to progress through the game without Pikmin is, the one major flaw in this run preventing it from being truly as fun as it could be is of course the task of gathering raw materials and building structures. As no matter what you do, Oatchi can only carry one piece at a time for both collecting materials and building structures. But I found a way around this, sort of. First off, the amount of raw materials you'll need to spend in this run is significantly less than a regular run, because due to not having any Pikmin, as well as the safety you get from being able to kill anything from anywhere with co-op mode in the survey drone, the gear that is actually beneficial for you to buy gets narrowed down to the survey drone for 10 material and the rush boots for 120 material. You might think the headlamp is useful, but the survey drone can light up caves even brighter than the most powerful headlamp in the game. As for the rush boots, you don't technically need them to beat the game without Pikmin, but trust me, you will want to get it. Not only does it speed up your character, but it speeds up Oatchi, and since he's the only way of transporting anything in this run, needless to say, the amount of time it saves is invaluable. But on top of not needing to spend a lot of raw material, you also don't need to gather that many in the overworld, as you can accumulate a lot of raw material by getting gold or platinum in Dandori challenges and battles, and completing various other side quests that the castaways you rescue provide. And most of these challenges are just given to you for doing things that you would normally do in the game anyway, like exploring caves or killing creatures or collecting treasures. And using this method, I don't really think I had to collect material in the overworld at all. Although I did, of course, take advantage of the 7 Pikmin I had briefly in day 2 by having them collect raw materials from Crackling Cauldron before I sacrificed their souls, causing them to wither away for all eternity as sprouts. Now that's all well and good, but it still leaves us with the problem of building structures, as NPCs can't do that for you, and if you try to build some of these structures with just Oatchi, it takes upwards to an hour per bridge. I'm not even kidding. It is excruciatingly slow, especially since you probably won't have the rush boots at that point. But just like with collecting raw materials, there is actually a way around this, and that's with glow Pikmin. So during the night expeditions, while they do function in a similar way to Dandori battles and challenges, where the Pikmin you grow in this mode don't count towards your overall story stats, what does count towards the overall story is any changes you make to the environment with glow Pikmin during your night expeditions, which includes simple stuff like weighing down this metal flap, and of course, building bridges and walls, enabling you to build them in a fraction of the time. But since it takes a while to unlock night mode, since you have to rescue Yoni first, I did have to end up building one structure with Oatchi, that being this wall that leads to the Kingdom of the Ballblaxes, but it wasn't too bad because it only takes 11 material to build, and I got to do laps in the meantime. Yeah, for these moments where Oatchi has to carry nuggets in a cave or build a particular structure in a cave and you just don't have glow Pikmin on you, these are the times to use your ultra spicy sprays. Since you won't really have any Pikmin to utilize it, might as well save them for the most time-consuming Oatchi tasks. But I'd gladly take on that small inconvenience in order to complete these structures in night mode with glow Pikmin, because while it is a lot harder, now having to manage building structures in addition to growing glow Pikmin and defending the Luminol, it's also a lot more fun because there's more things to do. And plus with the survey drone co-op combo, which from now on I'm just gonna call the tactical drone, it's really not that bad. What I do is use my player character to supervise building, Oatchi to manage growing Pikmin, and the tactical drone in order to defend the Luminol. And these little roundabout ways of completing tasks without using any non-glow Pikmin and figuring out what you can accomplish with these limitations is what makes this playthrough so fun. A perfect example of this is the Equivor's Summit Cave from Sunspeckle Terrace. In order to access it quickly, you'll need to do what I mentioned earlier and have glow Pikmin build the bridge to it in night mode. And then when you enter the cave, normally you would need ice Pikmin, but instead you can just use an ice blast to freeze the water to get on top of the platform with the hydro jelly that has the treasure in it that you can also break with an ice blast and then carry back to the ship with Oatchi by throwing another ice blast and quickly moving him across the ice before it melts with the pebble pitcher. By the way, another advertised feature of the pebble pitcher is that you can speed up carrying items by throwing pebbles at them them while they're being transported. This also helps a lot with saving time in the run. But you can't do this if something's in Ochi's mouth, so unfortunately you can't use this for building bridges, transporting raw material, or transporting nuggets. And once you get the swallow upgrade, you won't be able to speed up Ochi, which is why I never talked to Olimar in this run. Sorry, Olimar, I guess you'll just have to deal with a homophobic dog, a hungry psychopath, and letters from a family you can never visit to keep you company. Anyways, in sublevel 2 of a Quiver's Summit, this would normally be a dead end if you're utilizing absolutely zero Pikmin, but since glow Pikmin never count towards your total, due to them despawning after you leave a cave, you can utilize them to get the only types of treasure that you can't get without Pikmin, being the ones hanging from cobwebs. There's no way for Ochi to grab it, there's no way for it to be knocked down with any of the items or the pebble pitcher, so because of this, glow seeds become very useful. You might even want to redo some night expeditions just to get more glow seeds. That's how useful they are in these caves, since it's the only way to actually use Pikmin without adding to the overall count. I pretty much ended up using the least amount of glow Pikmin required in order to get these treasures, and then got them to help out with tedious tasks after I collected the treasures, like collecting the nuggets or building the ramp up to the cave's exit. Or you could just go into tactical drone mode, frost blast a hydro jelly, break it open to reveal the castaway, and then carry them back by throwing your 3 glow Pikmin up onto the ledge. As I said, there's so many ways to do things in this game without non-glow Pikmin, and that's what makes this challenge so fun, is discovering all the different things you can get away with, like literally having a tactical drone shoot down everything in an area before you even take your first step, or using carrots to weigh down buttons, even though they can't weigh down bags for whatever reason. Again, this game is incredibly inconsistent, but finding out where those inconsistencies or exploits are in the game is what makes it so fun, to the point where doing a repeat playthrough, after finding out that my initial playthrough of 12 hours didn't end up recording, wasn't actually too bad due to all of the new stuff I discovered on the second playthrough. Like finding out that glow Pikmin can build bridges for you during the night to be used in the day. So if you decide to do this playthrough and find any new discoveries, which you probably will with how many different non-Pikmin tools there are in this game, be sure to share them with me. Even with my 2 playthroughs, I didn't discover everything. Like for example, the ability to get rust with only red Pikmin, which I found out from Wingman Man. So there's probably a bunch of other discoveries that I don't even know about that you may find by playing the game this way. For those of you who want to try this, the rules to this run are simple. It's actually only one rule, which is that you must end every Pikmin day outside of the first one with 0 total Pikmin grown or lost. Whenever you utilize a Pikmin type and then discard them in a cave with a candy pot bud, it does show at the end of the day the amount of Pikmin you used, but it doesn't add to your overall count, so doing that is fine, and it's actually required for opening the bunker in Hero's Hideaway or for getting a lot of the above ground treasures that you can't knock down with Ochi. There is the issue of trying not to gather the wild Pikmin that appear in the caves, but I also have a solution for that. Yep, killing them with bomb rocks before you whistle them don't count towards your Pikmin lost count because they were never with you in the first place. Murder without consequence. This game is so perfect. But if you do have moral objections to killing the wild Pikmin, you could always freeze them instead. Pikmin 4 truly is the game that keeps on giving. I could easily see myself playing this for another 100 hours, just because of all the different things you can do in this game, by challenging yourself to only use certain elements. If you have any cool ideas for different types of Pikmin 4 runs that I could try, be sure to let me know in the comment section below. I would love to make another video like this on a different challenge run in Pikmin 4, or maybe even a different challenge run in any of the other Pikmin games. As for this run in particular, I think most people are going to call it the Zero Pikmin run, but what I've personally dubbed it is the Piklophobic run, as the game heavily resembles the Piklopedia from Pikmin 2 with the tactical drone mode, in combination with the fact that you're avoiding using Pikmin at all cost, meaning that the character you're playing as is a Piklophobe. I thought it was clever, but if you guys just want to call it the Zero Pikmin run, that's cool too. A full recording of this playthrough will be available on this YouTube channel, where I play up to rescuing Olimar. I might make a 100% run video eventually, but I've already beaten the final boss with only 8 Pikmin, so I know it's possible. I didn't really feel a need to record anymore. Anyways, check that out if you want to. Subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed. I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and with all that being said, I'll see you in another video.